Hello everybody and welcome back. We are here for the second week of the Altered Index 2025 challenges. Last year when I did the Altered Index challenge, it was super popular. Lots of people joining in, which was obviously fantastic. Lots of people also asking me if I would be doing another one, so I decided yes, I would be doing one for 2025, but I wanted a bit more of a focus on mixed media this year. So you have got the prompt list in my Ko-fi shop. I've got a link tree down below that has all of my links in. So if you go over to my Ko-fi and in the shop, there's a search bar. So if you type in index, you can get last year's list and this year's list as well. We obviously started last week with the first challenge, and there is a playlist if you want to go back and check that out. And last week's was alphabet or dictionary. Today we are doing the prompt butterflies. So that's a little bit different this year. There is only one prompt because it is more kind of mixed media based. So I'm challenging myself by using 3 different mediums in my project. So I'm trying to create more dimension and more texture in my crafts this year. I also liked the idea of one prompt because lots of people have their own tastes on their colour schemes. Some people don't tend to use certain colours. Also, we all have our own different artistic styles. So I thought we're just having one prompt that's an overall theme. Then people can work to their own strengths that way and decide to challenge themselves and work with different colours if they then choose to. So working on then number 2, butterflies. I've got some bits and pieces prepared. Before I start though, I do want to say a massive thank you to everybody last week. I did confess I am not a mixed media expert or professional in any way, shape or form. I started looking into mixed media at the beginning of last year, and I was following a lady called Lou Collins, who I'm sure you've possibly heard about, and I dabbled a bit throughout 2024. But because I have so many other things on, I don't get to do mixed media as much as I wanted, which is why I've made it part of this challenge so that every week I'm having a go at mixed media. So I've kind of followed her steps on creating a mixed media piece, and I did share this last week, so I'll just quickly go through it again. So the first thing we're going to establish is the white space and where the focal point is going to be. Now again, this challenge is all about me using things in my stash. So I am going to have a play around with this tool. I got these ages ago, but this is a kind of heated sponge that you can impress details into, and it will hold its shape until you heat it, and then it kind of smooths out again. I cannot for the life of me at the moment think of the company's name, but I've got a set of 2 of these. And what I will do is, because I had some people asking me about some dyes and things that I was using in the last video, I will have an Amazon shop link, and any materials, resources and things that I use that I can find on Amazon, I'll pop it in the shop, and then at least you've got a link to reference to. So even if you don't buy through Amazon, but at least you kind of know what it's called and you can search for it and obviously buy it wherever you wish to. So I'll put things in an Amazon list for you if there's anything you want to purchase. So as I said, this is a really cool foam block. So it is a very thick foam, but it holds the shape of what you impress. So I'm going to impress this pretty die. So this is a Sizzix die. I believe it came with another kind of corner piece, but I really like this kind of flourish design. So I'm going to impress that on here, hopefully. And then I'm going to stamp that onto this. And we'll kind of just see how that turns out. So my white space focal point, last time it was kind of in the middle here. So I'm either going to try and go for this top corner or this corner. I'll have to see kind of how it stamps, because I was trying to work out in my head, because obviously it goes on this way, which means I'll turn it that way. So it might be this top corner, it might be, because I don't think I can get it into that bottom corner. Because normally, obviously, if it was die cut, I would have it there. But because it's going to be impressed in here, you're then going to have basically the reverse. So it's going to look like this. I'm either going to have this bottom corner or this top corner. I hope that makes sense. I was trying to figure it out in my head, like I said, when it's impressed in here, how it would go. So I'm going to have that flourish on there. And then that's kind of the number 2, isn't it? Applying the colour. So first of all, establishing your white space. So this will be my white space. This will be my focal point. Now we're going to apply some colour. So that's where this tool comes in. So like I said, you've got to heat it first. So I have got my heat gun. I will turn the sound off for this, just so it's not too loud for you. Okay, so I've heated that up and I'm just holding it in place for a few moments because the block needs to cool, but you want it to cool with the shape in there. You can do this with stencils as well. I like to use dies. You can also use stamps and put that in here. So it's really, really cool. So you can make some really fabulous backgrounds with this. But again, it's a tool that I haven't used for a very long time. So doing this mixed media, hopefully I'll get to use them. So we've got a little bit of a flourish design in there. So I'm going to next, and the nice thing is if you're not happy with this, you can kind of reheat it and then redo this if you wanted to, but I think that's okay. So what I'm going to do is rub some ink on here, and you will immediately kind of see how this is going to kind of look. And the kind of pattern that we're going to get on the paper. Okay. Also going to spritz, but I'm going to spritz my card rather than the stamp. So where was this going? It was going to go in that top corner, wasn't it? So I'm just going to spritz the card a little bit and then pop this down, and we'll see how that transfers. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a flourished pattern. Probably because I've added the water, it's gone a little bit splattered, but that's not a problem. What I'm going to do is just with my blending brush, I'm just going to blend around these edges a little bit, just so I haven't got that sharp edge so much. I'm just going to blend it out a little bit. I don't mind if there's a little bit of white still at the bottom. I just don't want that sharp edge there. That'll do. Okay, so obviously because I added water, it has gone a little bit more blurry. It wouldn't normally be that blurry, but that's the kind of texture that I wanted to go for, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is clean this. So these do clean very, very well. I'm just going to use a baby wipe. Okay, and you can see even though that I've scrubbed that, it still has kept the pattern in there, and it will do until you heat it, and then it just disappears. So I'm just going to heat it just to get rid of that pattern. Yeah, and just like that, it's just gone back to normal. So you've got a nice flat surface again, and you can just stamp them actually just like that if you wanted to. So there are lots of options for these, but these are such a great tool. I really like them. So like I said, it's nice to be able to use them again. So I'm just going to move those two pieces over to the side because we don't need those anymore. I am just going to give this a little bit of a blast because I do want to add some stamps to it as well. So I'm just going to give this a blast of heat. Okay, so now that that is dry, that's kind of our step 2, applying some colour. Now, Lou Collins does kind of say, and I said last week as well, to start with, you may think it's looking a hot mess and it's not looking anything like you want. That is fine. That's part of the process. You've just got to keep going with it. So the next part is adding the texture. So that's whether you're adding stamps, texture paste, which we did last time. If you're adding any fabrics, laces, whatever else to it, this is where you're now applying the textures. So I have got this script stamp that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use a darker purple to stamp that. I won't take it off that sheet actually. So I'm just going to apply it a little bit. I don't necessarily want it everywhere. It's just to kind of, whoops, not stamp on my fingers, but just to kind of add a bit more detail here and there. So I'm just going to lay that down, give it a press, pick it up. Might be able to get another little stamp out of that as well. Okay, so we've got some stamping. Just going to rub that. Okay, something else that I'm going to use is it's a stiff brush. I can't remember what it's for. I think it's a decoupage brush. I think that's what it's used for. But it has got quite stiff bristles, and I'm going to keep it quite dry because I'm going to use a glitter frosting paste, and I just want to kind of dry brush it a little bit over certain areas. So I don't want too much of it, just to kind of brush it slightly. And I do want to thank people that commented last week. Lots of people were giving me some tips because, as I said, I'm not an expert with mixed media. So some people, when I was doing the splatters at the end, they weren't quite splattering. My arm was completely covered, my face was covered, a lot of my desk was covered, and yes, some splatters did land on my project, but nowhere near as much as everywhere else. So lots of people were saying, oh, if you use a stiffer brush, so I'm actually probably going to use this in a future one. But yeah, thank you so much for those that were giving me those tips, because like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm always happy to learn, so if you've got any advice, absolutely pass it on, because it's good not just for me but for anybody else that is watching and is perhaps new to mixed media. So I'm just kind of brushing it here and there. Little bits are coming off. I don't, like I said, I don't want great big chunks of it. It's just, again, to add a little bit of texture here and there. You can, of course, use stencils. I did use texture paste and stencils last time. But as I said, I'm just trying to use different techniques this time. Like I said, just a dry brush and a bit of paste. I think that'll do. Right, so that is our step 3, adding some texture. So I think we're going to start thinking about the focal point. So I'm going to have my focal point probably up in this top corner. Now I'm using a couple of sets of dies. So I've got, this is part of another Sizzix set that I've got. It comes with like a doily cutout and a couple of lace pieces and things. But you get the frame and the butterflies. So since the theme is butterflies, I thought that would be quite cute, but they're obviously very small. So for a focal point, I wanted something a little bit bigger. So I've got another set. Now Sizzix sometimes has it written in on the back, but not always. So I've got this butterfly die, and then it's got a different, I think there's like 3 different possible cuts that you could have that kind of overlay over the top. So I went for this one. And I've cut them in different colours, so I've already done all of the die cutting just to kind of save a little bit of time, and I've done it on a few different papers because I wasn't sure which way round I wanted it to go. So I've got the gold frame, and I've done that on a textured gold card. So my frame's going to go possibly there. And then I was thinking of having my main butterfly, but I wasn't sure whether I wanted the lighter colour with the dark on top or the dark with the lighter on top. I think it looks better the other way around. So maybe that there. And then I've got lots of different ones. So I did cut some out in gold. It's going to be tricky now, isn't it? Trying to pick them all out. That's probably a bit easier. So I've got some in gold. I've got some in purple. So I've got some large ones. And obviously they're all different sized butterflies in that die cut. So let's just quickly try and spread them out a little bit. Okay, so I'm not necessarily going to use all of the butterflies, but I just thought having them in kind of different colours might just help with the whole focal point. So I think I will have maybe not the biggest gold butterfly, but one of the gold butterflies. And a purple one, because I kind of want it going down at this angle. And then I think I might actually I might go for the bigger one down there, so that little one can go up with that purple one, and this bigger one here. So something like that. I do feel like it's missing something. Hang on a sec. Okay, my good old friend cheesecloth. I think I might use some of this. So I'm just going to snip around. Just give it a bit of a tug in areas just to kind of stretch it out a little bit. It might be way too much cheesecloth. Just adds a little bit of texture again. Yeah, okay, I quite like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's start popping those all down. I might just trim a little bit off this, just so it's not quite so huge. And grab my glue. It's been really lovely sort of seeing how excited people are about this year's challenges. I've had a couple of people already way ahead of me. They're already finished their number 2. But as I said, absolutely awesome. Don't mind. Carry on. It's fabulous that people are enjoying these challenges already. And lots of new people to mixed media as well. So as I said, you're not alone. I'm still quite new myself and learning. But that's another thing about these challenges. See, I actually create these challenges more for me because I want to challenge myself. But it's fantastic that you guys want to come along for the ride as well. One thing I might do, I'm just going to stick these little butterflies down. Let's see if this wax tips will help me try and pick these up. Let's move you a minute. Oh, it did. Blobber glue, pop you down. Blobber glue, pop you down. Oh, that was easier. Blobber glue. You're now upside down. Okay, this glue does dry clear, so it doesn't matter if it's poking out a little bit. Right, I want to, just on this one, let's get my paperweight just for a moment. I'm going to just brush some of the gold on the edge of this butterfly's wings. Again, just a little bit. I'm going to have glitter everywhere. It's going to be stuck on me for days. You watch. You'll see me in next week's video and I've still probably got glitter everywhere. I'm not a glitter person, I must admit, but sometimes it's necessary, isn't it? Only sometimes. Okay, so that's going to go to the side. And you'll notice I'm not sticking the whole thing down, so I'm not... Actually, it's a bit big, I can probably do it with my fingers. I'm not worried about getting the whole wingspan down, because I can kind of lift them up a little bit that way. Give it a bit more dimension again. And I'm going to do the same with this one. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a bend and just apply that glue in the middle. Like so. Look, see, glitter already. Hang on. That's got to go, because that's going to end up on my face, and then every time I look in the mirror I'm just going to see something sparkling. Let's get it off here as well. Right, I actually think that looks quite a pretty card. Okay, so now still part of step 4 and the focal point. So we've got the focal point, but obviously we might want a sentiment or wording. Now you don't have to have sentiments or wording, but let's just move those out the way. I have this quote sticker book, and I can't remember where I got it from. It says made in China, so it's possibly an Amazon purchase. But it's actually a really amazing book. I have still got the sheets that I was using a lot last year, but this one has different fonts, which I really like. So the other one I've got, it's all the same font all the way through. So you've got different fonts. You've got a set of words in black. You've got a set of words in white. You then have them in different colours, which I quite liked. So you've got some in like sort of blues and purples and pinks. You've got some more neutral colours, and then you've got some with a gold foiling, which I also quite like, again in the black and the white. So what I'm deciding on for my sentiment in here, I've either got, I was looking at Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings, although it is quite a boring font, but Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings, because obviously we have got butterflies. What else was I looking at on this page? Embrace the Rhythm of Life. I thought that was quite nice. Or in the foiling, and I quite like it because it's a more script font. We've got Embrace the Beauty of Imperfection, and I thought, well, certainly doing mixed media, there's a lot of imperfections going on. So would that be a good one? So it's either that or Celebrate the Magic of Everyday Miracles. That's quite a nice one, because obviously butterflies coming from caterpillar turning into a butterfly, that's a miracle in itself, isn't it? That might be a nice one. Well, I think since we have got gold, I might go for a script one. Embrace the Beauty of Imperfection. Okay, I think I'm actually going to go for Celebrate the Magic of Everyday Miracles, just because I am on a bit of a gratitude journey at the moment. So I'm going to go for that one. So where do we want it? Now you don't obviously have to have a single strip. You could trim it down. Don't know whether to lay it across there. I think I might. I mean, you can trim it down, like I said, but I don't know if I want to. So I might just stick that in there and have it over the frame. Okay, and that is my altered index card number 2 for 2025. Once again, I hope you have enjoyed joining me today and have perhaps a little bit of inspiration on how you could create your own card. As I said earlier in the video, where I can, I will put an Amazon shop link so that you can find some of the products that I am using. As I said, you don't have to buy via Amazon. You can go and shop somewhere else, but at least if you've got the link, you know what the item's called or the brand or whatever, and then you can kind of search that in Google to buy somewhere else. if you want to. I actually really love this card. I love the gold on it. I think it works really well with the purples. And I think we've definitely met the prompt here with butterflies. I would really love to see your take on this prompt. If you do post on social media, please use the hashtag AlteredIndex2025. That way myself and others can come and find you and your projects and be inspired by what you do. If you are not already a subscriber to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button and also make sure that you hit that bell, then you're notified of all future videos. Thanks again everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.